If anyone hasn't paid yet, you still have a chance before someone begins to run back your papers. I appreciate that the music tapes of mine
whatever I want.
It's all in your hands.
Whatever you have. Which one is Aleph? You have the last one also, Chelik Dalet maybe? That's all you have? Huh? No clinging. So, I don't want to say anything bad, but imagine David HaMelech would come here tonight. He'd say, I'm sorry, can't stop singing, right? So why should I? If it's good enough, oh, Ruben, no wait. Hey. If it's good enough for David HaMelech, it's good enough for me. My other answer is, if the only reason I'll be in hell because I sing tonight, I'll be okay. Tonight I only want to sing songs from Book of Lamentation. Join me. cry, and then you have a feeling, that's it, right? But then there are things like, can't stop crying. Can't stop crying. And so, there's a whole controversy in the Talmud. Jeremiah, hey Rabbi, are you coming? You joining us? Heilige Rabbi Rabbi, are you coming? Nobody wants to sit next to me, girl. I have muzzle. Anyway, there's a whole controversy in the Talmud. Did I say hello to Sonia? Yeah, I did. No, I didn't. Did I? Oh, good.
Maybe you need to say hello twice today.
Yeah, have to say twice. Listen, friends, the controversy in the Talmud is Echo wrote the Book of Lamentations after the destruction of the temple. But most of them say it was before. Because if you see the destruction of the temple, you can't say anything anymore. Anyway, this is one passage that says, and I can never stop crying. I never stop crying. So let's go. Maybe one of the most beautiful in the world. It says, Shivchei kaman libech, Narchel Pnei Hashem. Pour your heart for God like a waterfall. You know what we do? We always have little attacks. Have a little Jewish attack, And then I had a little human attack, then I had a Shabbos attack, then I had a learning attack. Cute little attack, and then it's over, right? Okay, it's better than nothing, you know? But what's about non-stop? Non-stop. You know, in Nizma Nedovit to say, and I wish we would have the time to learn all this. We say it Friday night, for the Chadoji, say Hashem, Shalom Mabul Yosef, please master of the world. Can you bring another flood? The first flood was good, but it's down. There's another flood, another flood. And if you remember that basically the people of the flood had Gival, their very holy souls. They had something infinite, really infinite. But they didn't know where to put it. So they put it into evil, into pleasure. But basically, they were the generation to whom God wanted to give the Torah. In fact, if you remember, they all came back again. They were slaves in Egypt to make good what they did during the flood, and then they received the Torah. You know, the Torah is non-stop. Learning is non-stop. Being a servant of God is non-stop. Being a Jew is non-stop. You know, an assimilated Jew is somebody who is, he has local stuff, express stuff, you know, and it's very sweet, but it isn't. I'm not knocking it. Maybe it's very holy in heaven, but talking about in this world. So I say, Master of the world, Hashem Namavu Yosef. So the people of the flood were supposed to receive the Torah. And some of you remember, Moshe Rabbeinu were also in the generation of the flood. And Moshe Rabbeinu also drowned. There's a Moshe Rabbeinu that's always followed with water. First he was thrown in the water, and then at the end he didn't go in there before because of water. And he started getting right now into it in the deepest depth. And you see, Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid of Sichon, of Og, to pass the go. For those who are learning the pass good. Og was a giant, and he was the only person who survived the flood because he was so tall. And Moshe Rabbeinu was afraid of him because Moshe Rabbeinu drowned in the flood, and he did. But anyway, the flood. So we say, Master of the world, and you see the water which is coming down from heaven. You know, everything which is coming down from heaven, it's up to us. It can come down very holy, very spiritually, very beautiful, or it can come in drama. You know, imagine it's decreed in heaven I should be very rich. That's up to me. It can make the worst person out of me. It depends how I receive the money, right? If I receive the money like who knows what, like the lowest person in the world, then I can't stop grabbing the money. The Gemara says, Mishi yesh lemona otzim estam. I have 100, I want 200. I have 200, I want 400. I want 400, I want 600. It's crazy. Or I can receive the money, the master of the world. What a privilege to have so much money, I can do so much good. Because regardless, he can only eat so much, right? And regardless, he can only spend so much. Anyway, so we say, Hashem Namavu Yosef. Master of the world, can you bring another flood? You know, take the world today. What are they hungry for? They are hungry for something non-stop. When you talk to young people, you know what? Sometimes you meet people and you're good friends for one day, right? The next day you don't remember each other's name. Heartbreaking. all looking for Gewalt Master of the world. Can you send a flood again? Can you open gates in heaven that whatever happens should be non-stop? No. You know, learning Torah is non-stop. Basically, you have to study 48 hours. And you need a reason for not studying. If not, you need a reason for studying. You need an excuse for not studying. Because it's infinite. If you remember why Yitzchak, Isaac wanted to bless Esau. Esau is the worst person in the world, right? A rapist, a murderer. But you know what Yitzchak saw in Esau? He had something infinite in him. He has something infinite. If I could turn this infiniteness from evil into good, it's a big Gewalt, right? You know, today you see people like unbelievable, so much infiniteness in them. It all goes to waste. So is there Hashem Namavu Yosef, Master of the world. Can you please bring a flood again? But the Yeshiv Hashem Melech Hayad. I promise you this time you take care of it. You know, a lot of times people say, you know, I wish I had one friend forever, right? I wish I had one book which gives me something forever. You know, what's so special about Yerushalayim? It's 4,000 years old, but it's forever. Yerushalayim is a city forever. You know, friends, have you ever noticed the way people walk away from the Holy War? Turn around 1,000 times. 1,000 times. One of the deepest moments in my life, it was right at the beginning, 67. I saw a little Yidele. Can you hear me? Yeah. Little Yidele from New Zealand. And he came to the Holy Wall. He says to me, you know, I don't know if I'll ever be able to come back. Because it took all my savings to buy a ticket to Israel. I don't know if I can come back. So he walked away a little bit, turned around. Another 2 steps, turned around. You know, I could not understand why the Messiah is not coming because of this little Yidele, you know. I mean, I could imagine those stones are just becoming whole again because the way he looked at them. This Yidele was non-stop. Anyway, it says in the book of Lamentations, if you really want to learn how to pray, we were learning it yesterday, I think. You know, the Holy Temple is the headquarters for praying. I can pray anywhere in the world, but non-stop praying. And I don't mean non-stop in time. Non-stop inside. You know, sometimes you meet somebody for 5 minutes. Well, those 5 minutes was a flood. Forever, right? So, Jeremiah is crying for the Holy Temple. He says, Shifchei kamayim liber. Pour out your heart before God like a waterfall. Non-stop. Noachach b'nei Hashem. Like Noach means we should mamish stand there. Mamish in front of God. I want you to know something, beautiful friends. A lot of times people open their hearts and they want to tell you something. and they're just about to go into the state of a non-stop. And the last moment, afraid. Because it's frightening to be non-stop. How much frightening. So, I want to sing this here. You see, the lonely people of the world are the people who never met one person who is with them on the level of a waterfall. Because at one time in my life it was non-stop. I'm a really different person. If I had one Shabbos non-stop, I'm always Shabbos day. What's the Torah all about? The Torah, you're supposed to walk around with the Torah 7 times. Have you ever seen anybody standing there counting? Why not? I mean, non-stop. But let's hear some good harmony. That is a very, very beautiful passage at the end. It says, Atu Hashem la'olam teshev. Hey, nobody here good, Brother Don. Atu Hashem la'olam teshev. God, you're here forever. You know, that means the destruction of the temple didn't really change anything in God. His government didn't become less important. Hashem is still the king of the world. But you know what it is? It's us. But then I say, Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, you are here forever. But how can you forget us forever? How can you forget us forever? And remember, I told you the Torah 1,000 times. From Levi Yitzchak V'ditcha was said, imagine a couple, they love each other very much. Then they have a fight. And after 2,000 years, they're still angry with each other. You know what that means? They still love each other, right? Because if they wouldn't love each other, I don't care, right? So, Rabbi Shlomo, it's already 2,000 years and you're still angry? Then you have to take us back. Hashiveinu Hashem Alecha v'Neshuva. If you're still that connected. You remember we were learning it, this is so deep. On Yom Kippur, I'm doing tshuva. On Yom Kippur, I'm standing before God, and I say, Rabbi Hashem, Master of the world, I made so many mistakes, please forgive me. I promise I'll be better. And we learned it 1,000 times, we'll just say it one more time. Again, this couple, they love each other very much, then they have a fight, but they don't see each other for 2,000 years. Unbelievable. Okay, I take me as a sample because it's hard to say you or me. Okay, I love this girl very much. We had a big fight, and I didn't see her for 2,000 years. Suddenly, I go in Hong Kong, go in the street, on the place where I suspect her the least to be there. Suddenly, I see her again. I walk up to her and I said, you know, I'm so sorry, I was so bad to you. And I swear to you, I'll be good. I'll make a whole list. Wait, let me sit down on the table, make a list of all the things which I'll improve on. I'll stand to you. If that's all you're capable of, you know. Mazel tov, right? Well, this is what Yom Kippur is. All year long, I'm not so good, and then Yom Kippur, Mamash, is such a God revelation. So I'm saying to God, I'm so sorry I did everything wrong. I promise you I'll do better next year. I mean, it's good, right? But then comes Tisha B'Av. Mamash, on Tisha B'Av, remember, Tisha B'Av is not only a sad day. Tisha B'Av is one of the highest God revelations there is. Because why am I not sitting all year long on the floor? Because I don't feel it. I know the Holy Temple is destroyed. On Tisha B'Av, it's mamish. God opens gates to me. Suddenly I see that the Holy Temple is destroyed. And suddenly I see the way the world looks like and the way I look like. And when I'm sitting on the floor crying, I'm not sitting there telling God, you know, I promise you I'll be better. It's all nonsense. It's so much deeper. On Tisha B'Av, I'm telling God, I cannot live without being close to God. On Tisha B'Av, I say to God, I cannot live without being close to people. You know, the Holy Temple was destroyed because we didn't love each other. Let me ask you in all honesty, there's a lot of people that say you and I can't stand. How much does it bother us? Yeah, okay, I think, you know, I should be better. So what? I'm still functioning. You know what it means to sit on the floor? That I can't function. You know what Rabbi Nachman says? Why are we taking off our shoes? Why are we taking off our shoes on Tisha B'Av? You know why? If I have to go somewhere, I need shoes, right? Tisha B'Av is clear to me. there is nowhere for me to go. I'm at the end. I didn't choose. Because even if I would have shoes, I have nowhere to go. And I don't know what to do. I'm at the end. I want you to know the deepest depths. Sometimes you have a fight with somebody, or you don't feel good about it. Then you say, let's meet and let's talk to each other about it. Are we taking out God for coffee on Tisha B'Av and say, God, let's talk about it? Like grown-ups? Let's discuss it. I know what you mean. I mean, how stupid this is, you know? How stupid can you get? Especially when you think you're an adult. On Tisha B'Av, it's clear to me, I cannot live like this anymore. I can't. I wish I can't. And then it's the Hashivenu Shemalech V'Neshu. Just please take me back. And I want you to know something. I was learning it this morning a little bit. If I come to God and I say, God, I promise you I'll be good and please take me back. It's not the highest. Very nice. The highest thing is I say to God, you know something? I'm just the same. I'll still be bad. But I just can't live without you. I can't live without being close to God. And you know, my beautiful friends, God bless you. We always think we're doing somebody else a favor when we like them. We're not doing anybody favors. If I don't like you, it'll be somebody else who'll like you. There'll always be people who like another person. But you know, the problem is not liking a person. So bad for me. Destroying my holy temple. I think I shared with you, I was in Germany a few times. They asked me on television, what's your relationship with Germany? So I said, if I had two hearts, I'd take one for loving, one for hating. I have only one heart. I need every ounce for loving. And then I said, hatred is a sickness. I don't want to be sick. You know what the first thing a doctor has to be careful of? Don't get sick. As we Jewish people, we are the doctors of the world. We cannot afford to be sick. You see, David HaMelech says, Ohavei Hashem sinuro. We hate evil. We hate it. We hate there's such a thing. You know, I walk on the street and I see a father beating up his son. I hate it. And I'll do anything in the world to make him stop hitting his son. Do I hate the father? I have compassion with him. Because most probably he is hitting his son because his father was beating him up. Right? You know, it's crazy. When you look around today, the worst people in the world, when it comes to judging, you know, sometimes you're angry at a person, I'll tell you something, I think I shared it with you. I have to tell it to a male, it's unbelievable. Some time ago, Yom Kippur night, a young lady walks into shul. I would say she's maybe 30. She says to me, you know, for the last 15 years I have not been in shul on Yom Kippur. And she says to me, do you know, I'm coming from a very chassidish home in Borough Park, but always Erev Yom Kippur, my father would call my brother and me in and beat us up like crazy for all the sins we did. Not normal. So I thought, this father really disgusting. And then she asked me, you think I should make peace with my father? You think I should call him? I say, let him call you. You have to call him. Let him crawl on all four and ask you for forgiveness. Anyway, a few years later, I am in the mountains playing in a hotel. After that, I see a very cute Yiddish standing there, and he talks to me, and he says, Shlomo Carlebach, yeah. He says, you know my daughter? I say, which one? This girl. It's your daughter. She is so beautiful, I hope you're proud of her. Says, no, I'm not proud of her. Okay, don't. Then, without me asking him, he begins to tell me how his father beat him up all the time. And then he tells me how he was beaten up in yeshiva every day because he's from Hungary. And the Rebbe in the yeshiva was from Lithuania. And the Rebbe says to him, if you're my pupil, you have to talk exactly like I. Heartbreaking, right? It is so crazy. It's like the Stahlschluss, you know. Awesome. But now open your hearts what the Ishbitzer says. On Yom Kippur, it is enough if God forgives me from now on. On Tisha B'Av, when I see how the world looks like, how people look like, and I realize I hated this Yiddish. You know I hated this Yiddish? Because he's beating up his daughter. On Tisha B'Av, God opens the gates to me and I see, you know why he's beating up his daughter? Because his father beat him up. Why did his father beat him up? Because Nebuch, his father, died when he was little, and his mother married his stepfather, and he beat him up like crazy. Going back all the time, right? So the Ishbitzer says on Tisha B'Av, when we say Hashivenu Hashem Alecha, God take me back, doesn't mean God take me back. I'm begging God, turn the clock back. Make it like it never happened, like it never happened. The Rabbi Shlomo can turn the clock back, right? I mean, just imagine God would turn the clock back and suddenly the 6 million weren't killed. Imagine God would turn the clock back and there was no Inquisition. And the most important part, God will turn the clock back and I realize the Holy Temple is still there. And here I just want you to know something absolutely beautiful. You know that on Seder night we're eating an egg. And everybody knows that the night of Pesach is also the night of Tisha B'Av. So here is the Torah from Ishbitzer. Basically, the world has a Torah like this: that everything in the world, when you cook it, it gets more soft, more soft. The only thing in egg, when you cook it, it gets hard. So we tell the world, you're cooking us, we'll never get soft. You'll get harder, stronger, stronger. Okay, this is a good outside Torah. To you, the inside Torah. You know, Pesach, we were supposed to be in Egypt 400 years. After 210 years, God took us out. Because God couldn't bear our pain anymore. So God turned the clock forward. On Tisha B'Av, you know what they're asking? Turn the clock backwards. Turn the clock backwards. Turn it back like it never happened before. You know, again, the same thing. I love this girl very much. I didn't see her for 2,000 years. If I just love her, from now on I see her again. If I love her the most, it suddenly looks at me like I talked to her the whole time. The 2,000 years don't exist. I have to tell you an unbelievable story if you just bear with me. Most of the Chaver heard me telling it. I think Rab Meir didn't hear me telling it yet. After a concert, the person came up to me and he says, I know you tell stories all over the world, I hope you'll tell this one. He says, my uncle was 14 years old when the Germans took over Warsaw. His mother had just given birth to a baby. A few days after the Nazis came in to Warsaw, they came up to my uncle's house. They walked in laughing, walked up to the crib of the baby, killed the baby, and walked out. My uncle was in the middle of learning. Bo Metzia was on page 100 in Bo Metzia. There's the big Tosfos. When he saw that they killed the baby, he says, God, I swear to you, I will nothing, you don't exist anymore for me. Not because I don't believe that you're there, I know you're there. I'd do anything in the world to hurt you. He says, I'll never open a Gemara again, I'll never keep Shabbos again, I'll never pray again. You know, Mamash non-stop reported his heart. I'll never be a Jew again. Miraculously he survived. Miraculously he survived. He came with his children to transport to Israel, got married, and he kept his promise. He told his children, there is one God, but I'm angry at him, so do anything you can to spite him. Spite God all the time. His children growing up, that's what they are. It's already so long ago, right? It was 1939. I heard the story in 1986. 40 years later. He says, my uncle is walking down at Bnei Brak, and it's summer, and the windows are open, and he hears a Yidele learning that Tosfos where he stopped learning. He doesn't know what happened to him. He just walked in to the house, and there was a yarmulke on the table, put on the yarmulke, and the Yid gave him a Gemara to continue to learn. He says it was clear to my uncle that he never stopped learning. He never stopped learning. How can you stop learning? See, this is what Tisha B'Av is all about. Master of the world, let it be like it never happened. You know, on Yom Kippur, I'm asking my friends for forgiveness. Tisha B'Av, I'm not asking for forgiveness. Because Tisha B'Av, I'm hoping it'll be like it never happened before. Like it never happened. Give me mamash good harmony, friends. Thank you. Le'arech yomim. I love all netzach. I tishkoch aveinu. Noetavaz veinu. Le'arech yomim. I love all netzach. Friends, I need all of you to sing, really, if you just, certain nigunim, if you hear them, you don't get it. You have to sing it by yourself. I don't care if you sing wrong, because Tisha B'Av, everything goes. Just sing. Let's go one more time. good. Can you make it a tiny little stronger? Okay. Right. You know, on Shabbos we say, the Mikdoshech, to a master of the world, bring me back to the Holy of Holies. Bring me back to the city where you can sing loud and you can also whisper. And then to the city which has in it everything beautiful in the world, the city of Shrine. There's unbelievable Torah of the Holy Hashem. You know, the crown of the king is untouchable. That's a big one. The crown. But then he says it's got to be the prince's city. And got to come from his head. There's a jewel in the crown. And if he's really like completely destroyed, he has the man to make it like dust. But he will be stone. Grind it, pulverize it. Right? If you pulverize the stone, the prince become well again. I mean, does the king think for 1 second? He says basically you're not immediately going to the Holy of Holies. But when you read it, you stay alive. You can go. You see, during the time of the Holy Temple, when everything was good, it's enough for me, the high priest, go to the Holy of Holies once a year. But Shival, the way the word was, I'm so hungry for the Holy of Holies. You know the difference between holy and the Holy of Holies? Very simple. Holy has opposite unholy. The Holy of Holies is something there's no. You know, sometimes there are 10 people. I say, this one person I like more than the 9 people. It's pretty nice. It's holy. It's not the Holy of Holies. Holy of Holies. So this is the Mikdoshech, the master of the world. I need something so holy to sing. Okay, l'chaim, l'chaim. Sure, if it's good.
People look at people, they see the bad side of things, that instead of seeing that people are basically good and looking for the good in people.
You say a Gebal Torah, brother, thank you so much. Although you make it too simple, Gan Eden, you know.
See, it's
But I'm sure you don't need it. You have to get a video from the son when he has it. I want to share with you two things, friends. And I'm sure most of you know it. We learned it 1,000 times, but maybe there's one person who maybe needs to hear it. Most of the time, when we hate somebody, we're angry at somebody, it is always, always, always a misunderstanding. It is 90% a misunderstanding. You know, the Torah says, Lo sisnu es achicha b'vavecha, don't hate your brother in your heart. And the Gemara says, what means I shouldn't hate when my heart, I should hate when my kishkis, I mean, what does it mean? That means don't hate a person without telling them, just in your heart. You have to tell them. When I think somebody did wrong, why didn't you ask them? And you'll find out that they didn't do it. Or maybe it was a misunderstanding. I have to share with you two stories, which I'm sure most of you know, but forgive me. The first is a good story, the second is a gewalt. The first story is in the good old days of the House of Love and Prayer. So from time to time, we had the privilege of going out and giving concerts. So one time we were invited at the University of California in San Jose. And they had some kind of a gewalt weekend, and we came there after Shabbos, and we were playing from 12 to 3 in the morning. It was really a good time, you know. It must have been 68, 69, you know. The real good days. Beyond time and space. And there were so many beautiful young people there, gewalt, you know. Infinite neshamas, infinite neshamas. Opposite me was a young lady. Mom, she was listening with so much heart. At least I thought so. So, during intermission, she came up to me. I'm taking out my card, and I said, you know something? You have to come to the House of Love and Prayer. I says, write me down your number 2. We'll invite you. She takes my card, puts it in her pocket, doesn't write down her number. She doesn't want me to know who she is. Okay, you know, there were 100 people standing there, you know, I don't have time to waste. I talked to somebody else. But it hurt me a little bit. I thought, you know, I didn't ask anything of her, you know. Just told her, I want you to come to us for Shabbos, you know. Okay, you know. At the end of the concert, she came up to me again. And I was really like closed up. I don't know what she wants. She says to me, Shlomo, I can't hear. God, was I broken inside. See, it took the girl another hour and a half of courage to tell me that she can't hear me. See, I gave her the card. She didn't know what I want, right? You never know, right? Okay, this is an awesome story. Well, you know, I was sick for weeks after that. But then, my real Rebbe and misunderstanding is another story. At the beginning of the 70s, when I would go to Israel, I would always go through a country in Europe without mentioning names, because there was a Besmedrash, and it was really like, at least I imagined, was like before the war. Shabbos morning, the davening was so good, and I just fire. And I made especially my business to make a stop there over Shabbos on my way to Israel. Anyway, that particular year, I'm making a stop. Shabbos morning, I'm coming in, and the chazan, the cantor, obviously he can't read. He can't read. He can't say the words properly. His voice is so bad. And the melodies he sings, mamish disgusting. So it was clear to me, most probably he's a rich man, and he has Yosef after his father, his mother, and he gives a few hundred rubles to the synagogue, and you know, said enough for money, you can dare buy anything. And so this is disgusting. Because he gives a few $100 a shul, I have to ruin my Shabbos morning, especially when they to daven with them Shabbos morning. It's getting worse. I decided I'm going in a corner, just ignoring him, because especially by Kedusha, you know, the highlight of Shachas. And he said, Sophia, he just fabricated his own words. Disgusting. You have to open your hearts between here and eternity, really. You know, when it comes to take out the Torah, if you want to or not, you want to kiss the Torah. Who cares who the cantor is, right? So they're taking out the Torah, and they walk back to the bima. And in that shul, the Holy Ark is a few steps up. I see the cantor standing there, holding the Holy Scroll, holding the Torah, and two people are holding him. So I asked the people, why they're holding him? Someone says to me, you don't know? This is the blind chazan. He is the blind cantor. Before the war, he was most probably the biggest cantor in Poland. He davened in the big synagogue in Lemberg. And Lemberg was in Auschwitz. And not only he lost his voice. You know, I looked at him, and I saw, you know, you could see the whip of his face, you could see. He had no more eyes, just scars over his face. And you know what happened? He didn't want to daven before the Yom because he said, I can't sing anymore. Don't remember the words. But some people said, we remember how beautiful it was when you were singing. We're begging him, just daven one more time. You know, I lived 2,000 years. I'll never daven on Yom Kippur the way he davened, right? Can you imagine how much he was crying before God? He can't see anymore. He can't sing anymore. He doesn't know the words. He doesn't know the melody. You know, I was so disgusted with myself. You know, I thought that they have good ears, you know. I realized I don't. Don't hear anything. Anyway, in the meantime, he was making his way down. And you know, when it comes to kiss the Torah, so instead of kissing the Torah, I kissed his hand. So when I kissed his hand, he said to the people who were holding him, "Who is this?" And you know, when you're just about dying, God gives you back your soul. So then someone told him, "Oh, this is Shlomo Carlebach." And he turned his holy blind eyes to me. And he says, "Hey, Shlomo, I love your melodies." You know? Gave me back my neshama. Anyway, I stayed there a week, canceled everything, and stayed there. And every day I went for a walk with him. So special. I remember there was a park, you know, every few minutes I said to him, "Heilige Chazal, you know, holy Kente, would you like to take a rest?" And from time to time we would sit down. Ah, gewalt. He mamish knew how to stand before God, you know. He was a real Kente. Anyway, a few months later I called up to know how he is. And his holy wife, she was on the phone. She says to me, "My husband has a new position. He became again the cantor in heaven." You know, this chazan changed my whole life. Literally. How little we know about people. How fast we misjudge people. It's not that I wasn't aware of his holiness. I thought he's disgusting. I thought he paid to daven. Not to be believed. And you see, on Yom Kippur, I'm just asking my best friend, forgive me. On Tisha B'Av, what I want more than that. On Tisha B'Av, I want God to shine into me how wrong I was. You know, on Yom Kippur, I'm trying to excuse myself. On Yom Kippur, I'm happy when I find out I did right. He didn't do anything wrong. On Tisha B'Av, my greatest joy is to find out I was wrong. Gewalt, was I wrong? Gewalt, was I wrong? You know, when you love somebody very much, you don't ever want to be right. I don't ever want to be right. The greatest privilege is to be wrong. Anyway, l'chaim. Okay, I have some unbelievable surprise for everyone. You have to bear with me. Where's Mordechai? Hey, Yoinele, Mordechai, come here fast. Don't say a word and come here fast. Yeah. Don't say a word. I'll tell you who they are. But fast. Come here. Here, we need one more chair. No. Just put it down. I'll give it away. Hey, come here, Martha. Sit down. Okay, the deepest surprise is that Mordechai and Yonah are getting married this Sunday. And somehow we didn't have a chance yet to write the engagement. And according, I don't know, maybe there's one person who doesn't know. By the word engagement, I don't want to say anything bad before Tisha B'Av, but it's a little bit absolutely meaningless, right? That people come, drink a little bit, tell some dirty jokes, laugh, and this is the engagement. We human beings created in God's image. In God's image are capable of a little bit better than that. Eden, we stood on Mount Sinai. So the truth is, engagement, according to Kabbalistic tradition, is so much deeper than marriage. Because marriage is a legal act. I get married to a woman, I'm married to her, she's married to me, and there's no way out. I mean, there is a way out, but this is very heartbreaking. Engagement, I have to tell you something as a joke just to make it ease it up a little bit. There is a boy in Israel who is in the habit of getting engaged every week to somebody else. I'm sure some of you know those kids. So he comes to the Moshav and he says, Shlomo, this time it's for real, and I really want you to make a Gewalt engagement. So in the meantime, he was sitting in my house, and my daughter Dari says to him, aren't you excited in engagement? So he says to her, are you excited over a new sandwich? I mean, this engagement lasted, I'm not sure, was it 6 hours or 7 hours? Anyway, okay, but this engagement is a Gewalt, right? I want you to know something. You know what engagement is? It's not binding legally. I can get engaged to a girl and call up the next day, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. But because it is not binding, it is so deep. It is so deep. It's just between me and the other person. I want you to know that engagement is like, what did God do before He created the world? And the Talmud says that before God created the world, humanly speaking, right? God had a plan to create the world. But 1 second before He created the world, He decided who should marry whom. It's even deeper than calling out 40 days before a person was born. God paired off the world, right? And before God created the world, there was nothing legal, right? There was no court, there was no law. So engagement is connecting oneself to that awesome holy moment. And God connected me to the other person. You know, my beautiful friends, sometimes I love a girl very much, and the world is still there. Everybody is there, and I love her. It's very beautiful. Maybe some people don't even have that. But then there's a much higher level. A higher level is when I see the girl I love the most. At that moment, there is no world. The world doesn't exist. You know, beautiful friends, between us and God, it's the same way. Sometimes it's called Yichud Eloah. Yichud means higher kind of oneness. That means when they think of God, then the world doesn't exist. Then it's Yichud Torah, a low kind of oneness. There is a world, but there is one God. And you know, my beautiful friends, engagement is, you know, the wedding is Yichud Torah. There's the world, it's legal, and you need witnesses and everything. Engagement is the deepest. And is there a better night to do it than the night before Tisha B'Av? When you want to get engaged to God again and to each other. You know how many people got paired off before He created the world? And because of a misunderstanding, because of a stupid misunderstanding, they tore each other apart. So anyway, Mamish, Mordechai and Yonan, I bless you that you should never, ever, ever, ever misjudge each other. And I bless you that whenever you do misjudge each other, God should enlighten you. And you should, Mamish, see how wrong you are. And, but you know, when does God enlighten me that I was wrong? When I love the other person so much, I say, please God, take even the thought out from my heart that they're not so good. Can't bear it. And I bless you also very strongly. Sure, you live in the world. Sometimes there is a world, right? Sometimes you have to keep the door open and let the world in. But then I bless you also. There should be moments when you close the door. And I want you to know something. When Yaakov, is there anybody more concerned with the world than Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, right? Listen to this. Yitzchak, the master of blessing, right? Why was he blind? So Rabbi Shlomo says, because when you bless somebody, it has to be so deep that the world doesn't even exist, just the person I bless. And if you can see the world, sometimes it's a little disturbing. So Yitzchak, who is the master of blessing, who is mamish, you and I are still alive only because of the blessing of Yitzchak. And I want to bless you that there should be moments, you know, like, and I also bless you, God should give you the sweetest children in the world. You know what children need so much? Not so much that parents should take them with me for a walk on the street. That's also important. Children need the most moments when the world stops to exist. You know, there's so many children walking around in the world, heartbroken, abused. And that's okay too. Okay, Mom, you're the best. Thank you. It's crazy here. Okay, you have the start now? Oh, you have it. Okay, let's first sing a little. I'm crazy tonight. You know, a cloth on Yom Kippur is bad. A cloth on Tisha B'Av is disaster. Chaim. I just want to tell you something. You know, it's unbelievable. You know, by most rabbis, the bride and the groom didn't see each other until 1 second before the wedding. So you'll ask me, this is terrible, right? So I'll ask you back, so what's so good when you see each other 10,000 times? It's also a miracle, right? Anyway, you need a miracle from God. And I don't see that all the people who slept around 10 years before are eternally blissful. I don't know. Anyway, I want to share with you about Chernobyl. In Chernobyl, it was a custom, not that the bride and the groom see each other a second before the wedding, but that the night before the wedding, there's a big feast. And the doors are closed. And in one room are the men, and the other room are the women. And then the two fathers dance with the chosen to the door, and the two mothers dance with the bride also to the door. And then they open the doors, and bride and groom give each other their hand, and they begin to dance. I mean, this was like dancing in the Holy Temple, right? And it's not even for us. We can only shiver thinking about it. I want you to know, Rabbi David Tolner had a son. It was called Reb Nochman. And this Reb Nochman, it's a long story of his, the highest. So when he was 14 years old and his bride was 13, and it came to the dance, he gave his bride his hand, and both have fainted. Because the mamas recognized each other. They knew that they were called out in heaven. Unbelievable. So on one hand, I want you always to be happy to see each other. On the other hand, I want you always to faint when you see each other. Just a little bit. Okay, let's sing a good melody. Is it possible to get some candles maybe? Or there are no candles here? If not, it's not, but if you could, it's beautiful. Okay, I'm singing Rabbi Yitzchak with Yeshua Snigen. Rabbi Yitzchak is the one who opens all the gates of heaven for people to love each other. Malzamo. It's your mother? Yeah. You have the sweetest daughter in the world. But she has the cutest mother, right? I hate to be bold, but we need really that Brochel should sit next to you. Yeah? What?
Linda.
Oh, Linda. Why do you say Brochel?
Mine.
Ah, I got it all wrong.
Not yet.
Good. Can we somehow shift chairs? We need. Hey, David, don't leave. I need you badly, but maybe some of the. Yeah, we'll give it out in a second. Okay. Hey, darling, don't leave us. Okay, my beautiful friends. The Knoim itself doesn't take that long, but just bear with us. You gotta sing the Heilige Rishnan also, you know, how can we not? beyond that, so don't drink and down the cup. Unbelievable ideas. Hey brother, I have, besides everything else, I was just crying my heart out. Where do we have a married couple here? So we have two holy married couples. You, come right here. And you, Mama, say hey. See, it's good to be married sometimes. Okay. This is really not taking the space of the...
Behind them, Shlomo? Behind them?
Yeah. One of you stand behind the chusn, one of you behind the cover. Linda, there's a line behind that shoe. I know. Standing? Okay. So you, good. Doing okay so far. Okay, do it. So let's, I tell you what, you know what, give it out to the two couples standing behind you. Living in such a cold world. And we're living in a world sadly now when sometimes people, the deepest of all depth, to love another person, they take it so easy, so light, you know. So I'm so proud of Mordechai and Yoni, you know. Such a privilege to be in your presence. And you know, to love another person is a gift from heaven. It's a gift from heaven. And the gift, you must have to guard. You know, the Gemara says Shabbos is a gift. God gave us a gift, Shabbos. So what do we say? V'shamro b'nei Yisrael is Shabbos, right? You have to guard it all the time. And you know, a lot of people think, I mean, really, let's say, I love this person. Nobody can steal it. You know something? There are a lot of thieves in the world. They break in always when nobody suspects them. I just saw a Gewalt that the Heilige Rabbi Vishnitzer always invited the biggest thief in the city to sit next to him on Purim. Because Purim, when we wipe out Amalek, right? You make peace with the thieves, and they promise us they won't break in houses where people love each other. What's Amalek all about? Tearing people apart, right? You don't remember Mordechai and Yonah, we were learning it? The Sea of Lublin says, Mishenichnas Av, Mamatim B'Simcha. When the month of Av enters, Mamatim B'Simcha, then you have to lessen your joy. But the Holy Lublin says, Mishenichnas Av, when the month of Av comes around and we are so sad, we are so broken, Mamatim, how do you make it less sad? B'Simcha. There's no other way. Martin, listen. So I want you to know right now, when you bring so much joy to us, and hopefully we'll have the great privilege of bringing a little bit joy to you, dear Mamish, making the sadness less in the world. Okay, now, David, I'll tell you a secret. You have to play guitar because I play it fine. Since they have no wine, I'm singing Chaim over coffee. You know, Bachsidim, coffee was very special. You know why? Because coffee is Kaveh El Hashem. Hope to God, you know. Kaveh el Hashem l'chaim. Beautiful. You know, there's a passage in Eishes Chai that says, Sheka achen v'hevel hayofi. Beauty is a lie, and charm is nothing. Isha yiras Hashem, a woman who fears God, heat is hallowed, she is to be praised. How does it sound to you? Don't tell me. You know why I don't want you to tell me? Because it's not true. The Torah says Rochel was beautiful. The Torah says Sorah was beautiful. Beauty is a gift from heaven. So how can King Solomon say, you know, beauty is a lie, charm is nothing? So this is what the hailing of the Torah says. Shlomo Melech foresaw that one day there'll be a generation, not beauty is a lie, where lies will be beautiful. And hevel, nothingness, meaningless. The hevel, sheker hachena. I'm too tired to think. Sheker hachen. That grace, that lies will be charming. And nothingness will be beautiful. And if in that generation you find a woman who is deep, Isha yiras Hashem, despite the world, that the world didn't make her bad and the world didn't minimize her depths, she is to be praised. So, Yonah, I want you to know we are standing here for you with the deepest admiration. Because I'm sure you had a million times in your life could have gotten off the wrong station. And I'm sure millions of times could have done something else. And the greatest thing is that you can keep that image in which God created you. And you're just so beautiful and so sweet. And I'm talking for everyone, right? We love you the most. Most. Okay, Mordechai, Mamish, you and I are good friends already for 2 billion years. For 2 zillion years. I want you to know, if someone would tell me that Mordechai is a Lamed Vov Tzadik, I would buy it. Because Mordechai is so hidden. His mom is so hidden. He doesn't ever brag about anything. His mom is so much of an inside person, really. Inside of the inside of the inside, am I right? Inside of the inside. So I bless you to be one of the 36 best husbands. And Mamish Mordechai, you're really the best. I'm so proud of you. We're all so proud of you. Okay, the Simon type of a Mazel type. All of you give me honey. Simon type of a Mazel type. Yadene Yitzmach kegan rotu. Motzu Isha, Motzu type. V'yofek rotzayim. May Hashem atay. You sure coming fast, we're waiting for you, ma'am. Okay. Have you ever seen the most beautiful garden in the world? But when it's dried out, it doesn't look beautiful. First of all, nothing is growing, and it looks ugly. So right now, God is